Welcome, everybody, to another exciting episode of Multiplayer, the podcast for gamers by gamers. Episode 96 of the show, almost to the big 100.
I mean, the big 102. That's where everybody makes memories for things.
Oh, yeah, 102?
102, that's the number. That's always the milestone.
All right, well, you know, we'll have a big old, 102 party or something.
That's right.
102!
Yeah, 102.
Of course, I am your host, Zach Matscanis, alongside Mr. 102 himself, Javier Ortiz.
That's right. That's what they call me, Mr. 102.
Hey, what's up, Mr. 102? What you up to today?
That's what they called me at the nurse's office when I went in for when I felt sick. They always called me Mr. 102. Always had that temperature.
Well, you know, at least you stay consistent. You know?
That's right.
Can't just have temperature just flying around, just doing whatever it wants.
No, just always 102.
Lock it in, a nice solid 102. Of course, Multiplayer is all over the place in your ears and in your face. You can check us out over at youtube.com/multiplayer, where you can see Hav sweating up a storm with his 102-degree temperature.
Oh, God, yeah.
He's got a blanket wrapped around him right now. He's shaking a little bit.
Wait, it should be the opposite.
What? Well, you know, it's like you get a temperature, and then it's just like you start to get real cold. You know, you get the shakes and all that.
Here's a side story. I almost died in high school with a high temperature. Because, I think the max temperature a human being can do is, a 104?
I think it's a little higher than that.
Or 105. It's around there.
Yeah.
But I remember in high school, I had, a really bad flu, and my temperature was, just under, the limit of a live person. But you were right. I was freezing, but I had a temperature of, it was, it was those 104, it was super high. And I was like, oh, am I going to die? And I was wrapping myself in a blanket, and I got in an ambulance. They're like, get the blanket off of him. He's overheating.
Yeah. You're like, no, I'm so cold.
Yeah, it was weird. It's a weird feeling. But anyway.
Yeah. You know, it's a little off topic, but, you know, it's one of those things, isn't it funny how the human body works, where it's you know, the normal temperature is 98.6, and it's if you're off just by a little bit, your whole body's just oh,
yeah, your body's just what is going on right now? Shut it down.
Your body's just it does not like change.
See, now I'm curious about I'm going to look up that temperature thing real quick.
All right, well, I'll keep on going while you look that important thing up for a video game podcast. But remember, everybody, you know, you can check us out at youtube.com/multiplayer. You can check us out over at patreon.com/multiplayer as well, where, you know, you can support the show. These episodes go up every Wednesday, except for this week. I had so much to do yesterday, so we pushed it by a day just to give me enough time to get my work done. So this one's posting on a Thursday. Sorry, everybody, but next week we will be back on track with another Wednesday episode. Of course, you can find us over at Instagram at Go Multiplayer as well. And, of course, subscribe, all that fun stuff helps the show. Hav, did you find the answer?
It says, a quick Google search says that the max body temperature a human can survive is 108, but I think that's outside. I'm not sure.
No, I think the 108 is basically when it comes to a fever. If you're at 108, your brain's gonna melt.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I'm telling you, man, my temperature that day was really high. I remember it being dangerously high.
Yeah.
But anyway, you know? Yeah, I'll try not to do that ever again. I would not recommend it.
Excuse me.
See, now you've got it.
Here comes the temperature. Oh boy. Talk while I take a sip.
Yeah, it was a bad day back then in high school. I remember they called my mom saying hey, his temperature is at 100, whatever it was. And she was like, what? Why are you calling me so calmly? Is he at a hospital? And they're like, no, not yet. We wanted to call you first.
Well, last tangent before we move on to the real show. Have you ever been really sick with the flu or something and played a video game in that time where you're kind of weird, you know, you kind of hopped up on NyQuil or something? And
I have. I remember my dad made fun of me for it because he was like, how are you so sick but still able to play games? And I remember playing it was like, I think I was playing like a Sonic Adventure 2 Bad on the GameCube. It was like, well, I was also in my basement where it's a lot colder. So I felt like I had chills. I had like a blanket wrapped around me, and I had like my GameCube controller up to like my chest. Yeah. And I felt like my head, like I felt like really loopy, because it's like I'm trying to focus, but at the same time, it's like your body's like, yo, you need to stop. We need to rest. But you're trying to have your mental focus just on this. So I remember feeling really loopy.
Yeah. Dude, I did that with Returnal when Returnal first came out, and I was like real sick with whatever was going on at that time. And I was feeling like real loopy, but like that's like a perfect game to kind of be loopy with. It's like already like a weird, strange game. So it's just like,
so are Sonic games.
Yeah, but just playing video games in general, like kind of sick and hopped up on whatever drugs you're on, is just like, it's a strange combination.
It is.
Yeah, but it's kind of fun in its own right.
Yeah, it was weird. It was like there was like a weird pain in my head, but I don't know. It felt, I don't know. I was like, is this what it's like being on drugs? Like, it feels weird. Like, I feel kind of hurt, but kind of not hurt at the same time. It was really weird.
Yeah, it's a strange time. It's kind of like dreaming when you have like a fever. Or something.
Yeah.
It's the same way, where it's just like everything's just kind of strange. You're like running around as a hedgehog. I don't know what's happening.
Yeah. We should do like an experiment. Just like, let's get, well, never mind. Let's get real sick and just take a bunch of Dayquil or NyQuil and just play a game. It's like, actually, let's not do that. I don't recommend that to anybody.
That's a terrible idea.
Yeah, no.
I'm glad you're not, coming up with show ideas for the YouTube channel.
Yeah, honestly, let's ignore that.
Well, outside of that, I think we have a pretty good show today, Hav. First, I want to touch base on what we've been playing. I've been playing a bit of Kana myself.
So I was going to, but then I started something else.
Ooh, okay. So we'll get into that in a second. I'd like to hear about it. And then I think we're going to be talking a lot of Nintendo today. A lot of Nintendo Direct news. So we'll get into that soon. And if we have some time at the end, got a little game for us to play. So
nice.
Let's jump right in. Get out of this sickly talk. So let's kick it off with you, Hav. What have you been playing? What's the mystery game?
So
the world wants to know, Hav.
Man, let me tell you, I was playing Sonic Colors. I was just continuing down that track, and then the Nintendo Direct happened. And the Nintendo Direct, they announced Castlevania Advance series. They were like, by the way, it's up right now. So I was like, whoa. Castlevania Advance games were the Castlevania games that completely went over my head when I was younger. And I always heard good things about them, but I never got around to playing it. So I saw that it was up for, it was on sale. Dude, $20. First off, I'm not even talking about the gameplay, the value.
Yeah,
like,
it's 4 games, right?
Yeah, 4 games that you're getting for $20. It's I've only started one. So the one that I started was Aria of Sorrow. Which is excellent. Like, it's a fantastic Castlevania game. I'm in the middle of it right now. It's super fun. The gameplay is great. And it's really good. Like, it's a really good emulation too, where it's like they've got, it feels good. It's very, very reactive gameplay. It's not laggy at all or slow or chugged down at all. They have a great like rewind feature that's not like convoluted. It's like, hey, if you want to rewind real quick, just hold like the ZR. I think it's called the ZR button. The not R, but yeah, or the ZR.
I think it's ZR.
Yeah, it's like just hold the ZR button and left, and you can rewind real quick. I was like, oh, love it. It's super easy, and you can do like save states. You can do like, I think
that's great.
I want to say 10 or 15 save states you can make. So you got plenty to choose from. It's really like the their like their pause menu, like not the old game pause menu, but like the emulation pause. It's very streamlined, very easy to figure out. It's just really great, and it feels good to play. But other than that, fantastic games. Like like I said, like I never got to play them when I was younger, and especially now with like Halloween's coming up, so it's always a good time for some spooky fun games. So I was like, oh, it's a perfect. It's like nice spooky games, Castlevania games. And like I always heard these were really good. So yeah, I like honestly like playing through them, man. At like that Castlevania collection, it is excellent. And I can't mention enough how much like you're getting it at a discount. It's like $20 for all. I think it's 4 games total. It's like, man, that's an incredible bargain.
Yeah, it's $5 a piece. Ain't too bad for what some people consider some of the best Castlevania games ever.
Oh yeah,
made. At least a couple of them, like Dawn of Sorrow, I've heard incredible things about, and yeah, some of those advanced games. Let me ask you, because I haven't picked it up yet. So obviously those games came from Game Boy Advance and DS, and that screen, it's like I don't know, a 240p screen or whatever.
Sure,
so
sure.
I'm assuming you're playing on your TV right now.
Actually, no. I've only been playing handheld mode.
Oh, okay.
I haven't even played it on the TV yet.
Yeah, because I'm mostly curious, like what it looks like blown up on a big screen TV. If they've taken those assets and kind of converted them to like an HD, like kind of high res. Pixels.
Yeah, I need to check that. I didn't even think about that. But I will say, when you play it handheld, it looks beautiful on a handheld on the the OG, like the Switch screen. So
yeah, well, that's good. I mean, that's still, like I said, I think the original DS is a 240p screen, if I'm not mistaken. So
yeah.
even looking really nice and crisp on a 720p screen, it goes to show you they've done a good job with like kind of fixing that.
Yeah, no, it looks fantastic. Nothing looks fuzzy or blurry. It looks crisp. I've only been playing on the original like 4:3 aspect ratio. Like you can stretch it out, but I don't ever like to do that when you're playing like old games. Like that's not the way it was made. That's not how it should be played. But yeah, playing handheld feels great. It looks great. I'm having a great time.
Yeah. When you go into the 16:9 aspect ratio, does it just stretch it out, make everything look fat?
I didn't even try.
Okay.
I did not even try. Like I'm so against doing that when I play old school games. Like it doesn't even register that I should even take a look.
Yeah, because some people do right by it, where they'll do a 16:9, but they'll basically take the original assets and just
enlarge them.
You'll just see more of the screen in that aspect ratio versus them just stretching
it out.
Yeah, because that's always that's the weird one, is when people just stretch it out.
Yeah, because like your character model just looks like bigger now. They look really weird. Yeah, I didn't even think about trying it, but I'll take a look at it, see how it looks on the Switch screen, and then I'll check on my TV as well, and we can check back on that. But besides that, it's fantastic.
Nice, that's good to hear. Castlevania is one of those series where I haven't played too many of them. In fact, the Castlevanias I've played are what most people consider like the worst in the series. Which is
Lord of Shadows,
Simon's Quest, and Castlevania 64 are like the two that I've put the most time into.
Speaking of Castlevania, I also last night I was playing it last night. And I checked on the eShop, and there's like a big Castlevania collection on sale for like $5.
Ooh.
You get like all the original Castlevania games, 1, 2, 3, Super Castlevania. I think Kid Dracula, is that what it's called? Kid Dracula is part of that collection, and a few more. So it's a pretty big. I don't know what Konami's doing. They're having a big Castlevania sale.
Well, that's good. I mean, it's kind of that time of year. Plus, like, Konami needs to do something with that series, and I'm glad they're putting that out. I'm hoping it sells well, because I want to see what like either Konami or like a new studio they give the rights to can do with that series. Take it down a path like Metroid Dread or something like that, or which we'll get to in a little bit. But
dude, it better sell well. It's only $20.
Yeah,
I mean,
bucks.
it's like, please.
I might just, right after this, I might pick that up and that $5 deal. And if it's not $5, I'm gonna punch you right in the face.
It was last night.
Face.
Oh, you should, dude. You should. It's an absolute bargain. It's so worth it.
Yeah. So it's definitely one of those series where I'd like to go back and play through some of them, because I'll start with this. I actually just finished the Netflix Castlevania series yesterday, and it got me really excited to go back and play some of those games, because that's just like such a cool series. And if you asked me today, like, what was the best adaptation from a video game to a TV or movie, I would probably say that Castlevania series. I mean, it's just fantastic. I mean, I think they do right by the characters. You know, it's a lot of fun. The action sequences are great, and some of the scenes, some of the fight scenes, straight up just feel like a boss fight. Like the series finale, which is the end of season 4, just straight up feels like a boss fight in like the best possible way. And it's like it's the only example I've seen outside of like Scott Pilgrim, which isn't a video game to movie adaptation. It's like a comic book to movie adaptation.
Right.
But that's like the closest I've seen to like, you know, somebody getting a boss fight right. And but man, the boss fight at the end of season 4 of Castlevania is like fantastic. It's absolutely like perfect.
Nice.
You know, it's such a perfect adaptation as far as like taking a video game and turning it into a TV show, but making it feel like a video game still. It's
right.
like they did such a stellar job with it. So, you know, now I really just want to go back and play a bunch of Castlevania games.
I mean, that's a good place to start, man. It's super cheap.
Yeah. So that's on my list. You know, I've kind of been going back through a bunch of series that I've kind of missed out on. You know, started with Poopy Hair Halo.
Yeah, those of all things to start with, man.
You know, it's just I had to do it, man. Yeah. Almost. I started 4, and I'm like, I'm gonna go play Kana instead, and that's what I want to talk about next. Is Kana is so I started Kana, Bridge of Spirits, PS4, PS5, and maybe PC. I think it's just PS4, PS5 though, and that game is fantastic.
Yeah,
it's a really good game. Yeah, it's the best way I can describe it because I've been trying to figure out like what to compare this game to. The best comparison I have is an indie what's it called an indie Horizon.
That's what I thought when I recently saw like the trailer and gameplay.
Yeah, so it's like an indie Horizon mixed with like a Pixar movie. Is kind of what it feels like, because I feel like they looked at Horizon and they took a lot of inspiration from it and kind of the best ways possible. Like that game's not doing anything new, but the remix of ideas is really good. And there's like some hints of like Zelda in there as well.
Nice.
You know, it's an all around like great package, especially at the $40 range. It's pretty stellar. I mean, like I said, it looks like a Pixar movie. You know, it is
a very pretty looking game. It's very beautiful.
The name of the development studio is just lost to me at the moment. Maybe you can look it up while I'm talking. But,
sure.
But they're known for like they started out as an animation studio and moved to
Ember Lab.
There you go. So yeah, Ember Lab, they're an animation studio, and this is their first video game, and they
That's
did
so
great.
cool. That's so cool. Going like you start out as an animation, then you make a video game, like because you can tell the influence.
Yeah, 100%. Like I said, it's kind of got a very Pixar look to it. You know, the cutscenes are beautiful. The world is very interesting to kind of walk around in. It's a very linear game, but
sure, you
know, it's the scope is the scope of what they went for is still like it's very nice. And you know, I would say the fighting style, you know, it's once again it kind of feels like Horizons. Like you're playing this character that, you know, she has a staff that she fights with. And then that staff actually turns into a bow, which is pretty sweet.
Nice.
It's like what a cool combination of like two weapons, where it's like you have the staff that then you can just, you know, she basically uses this. It's got like I guess I would just call it like a spirit string that just kind of like it's not like a real string. It's just
sure.
You know, I don't know, magic or whatever, but. So her staff just kind of becomes a bow, and you can jump in the air, and you have like a slow-mo bow. That
is just like Horizon. That's also like Breath of the Wild.
Exactly. So, you know, you could tell where it kind of pulled inspiration from. It kind of wears it on its sleeve a bit. It also has like there's really you can't really climb stuff like Breath of the Wild, but there's set places for you to kind of climb, like in Horizon, and you have some pretty like large scale stuff that you kind of climb through the game, like some big cliff sides and stuff like that. It's a very beautiful game, and it's all around. It's very pretty. I love the music. I love my favorite thing in that game is. So you have these like little buddies that run around with you, these little spirit buddies, called Rot, and I don't know why they're called that because they're absolutely adorable. I can't help but like go into picture mode and take a bunch of pictures of them because they're so cute. I'm planning to buy a plushie of one of them because they're absolutely adorable. They're the cutest thing ever. Like every time I'm walking around, they're just like doing silly things. Because they just follow you around. There's like 30 of them just like walking behind you. And then they're like little woodland spirits almost. So I was trying to think of a good example. And the best example I had was like, imagine in Princess Mononoke, the little woodland spirits.
Sure.
But like an even cuter version, like kind of round, fluffy, black spirit, like... Just little cute guys with these giant eyes, and like they're adorable.
I was thinking of Pikmin.
Yeah, well, they run around with you like Pikmin, and then they'll fight with you in a battle like Pikmin. But I was just trying to think of like something in the I don't know, just to compare them to as far as like what they are. It's like a little woodland spirit.
Yeah,
but yeah, Pikmin's like a pretty good example, but they don't really die, which is great. It would be real sad if they did. But you could put little cute hats on them.
Oh,
and
that's like in Bloodborne. Yeah, you weren't expecting that, right?
What are you putting cute hats on in Bloodborne?
Oh,
that's nothing cute in Bloodborne.
Yes, there is. If you would have played in Bloodborne, I know you only played a little bit, but you know how like there are the little skeleton guys that pop up with like view notes or like hints that other players. Yeah. Well, through the game, you can pick up certain items, and one of them is like a top hat, and you can put the top hat on the little skeleton guys. So when they pop up, they have little top hats. It's really cute.
Yeah, I thought you were gonna say, the bloody murder witch, or like
the blood-starved beast. He's adorable.
But yeah, I mean, it's a very chill game. Kind of. I won't get too deep into it, but I've been having some really bad anxiety this week, and just playing a relaxing game like that is real nice.
Nice, that's awesome.
Really, just like it's nice and calming. It's nice to play like a cute game every once in a while. I feel like I play so many violent games.
Sure. Well, I remember I was telling you about that after playing Last of Us. Last of Us Part 2. I was like, I can't. This is too much. Like I finished it. Like, but I after that I was like, I gotta play like Mario or something, like a palate cleanser. Yeah, absolutely.
So this is a nice game for that. It's pretty chill to go through. However, I will say when you get to the second half of that game, the boss fights get to like Dark Souls type challenging.
Ooh.
It gets freaking hard. So
I like that.
Yeah, the first half of that game you can basically walk through. And then it's just like they just take the difficulty and go from like 2 to 10.
Nice.
It's just like, all right, enough like hand holding, time to stomp you into the ground. And
it's like like, all right, everybody, you're playing with your kids. You've gotten to that point where the kid has had fun, and now they're done, and now it's your turn to finish it, parents.
Yeah. So that game gets hard, and I'm pretty good at video games, so it's like it's it gets pretty darn difficult, but in a good way. It never feels like too cheap or anything, but really
nice.
Like 3 hits from like from a boss and you're basically dead, and it's pretty easy for them to hit you. So you really got to be on your A game to get through that game. But
it's like Bloodborne.
I'm enjoying it. It's a good time. Just like Bloodborne.
This is just basically Bloodborne. Kid Bloodborne.
It's not like Kid Dracula, but Kid Bloodborne. But anyways, so yeah, I wanna go ahead and move on to make sure we have enough time for all this. But Nintendo Direct happened last week.
Oh boy.
Oh boy, indeed. Yeah.
Lots and lots of stuff.
Yeah, so I
One of the biggest was the Castlevania Advance Collection.
That it was, which
Love that.
I feel like we've talked a good amount about. So I think we can almost skip that one. I will say I'm so glad they released that, because that is
fantastic. For sure. I like, if you're not gonna have like virtual console or anything, like, man, please release all these classic, especially Game Boy and Game Boy Advance. Like, man, you talk about huge libraries, massive.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's one of those things like, dude, that's like a easy layup. Just put your stuff on new consoles and people buy it.
Yeah.
Like, why not? But yeah, so we're recording this on September 29th. This direct was on the 23rd, September 23rd. Just to kind of give you an idea of when we are talking about all this. But yeah, man, I've had a few days to think on all this, and overall, like, I think it was a pretty good direct. They talked about a lot of different stuff, and like literally a little bit for everybody, and I figure we could just go through. I have a little list of like kind of the highlights. I figured we could just kind of start talking about things in no particular order. Just
sure.
So first off, just to get it out of the way, because it's such a big game on Switch and other consoles, as well as Monster Hunter Rise is getting like a big expansion, and definitely not my kind of game, but
one of these days I'm gonna try one of these Monster Hunter games. So I have never tried one. Yeah,
it's one of those things. I'm just not in the games with like spongy enemies. It just kind of drives me crazy. Like, if you have to hit an enemy like 50 times, I'm just out. Like, it's just...
Well, that's why you didn't like Bloodborne.
Well, it's kind of that too. Or it's just like, man, if you take a sword and you stab somebody and it doesn't like stab them, it just, you kind of hit them, but it doesn't really do too much. Or same thing with like a gun. That's my problem with Borderlands as well. It's just like, if I shoot you in the face with a shotgun, you're dead. I don't care how big you are. I don't care what you're doing. You could be, the biggest baddest mofo around. If I shoot you point blank in the face with a shotgun, you're dead. So, or if I stab you in the face with a big old broadsword, you're dead. The end.
Man,
it's like, I don't care what you are.
Those bears in Red Dead Redemption 2, man. Those things can survive anything.
Those guys are beastly.
Yeah.
Those things are great. But yeah, so it's one of those things like, spongy enemies kind of get to me. So it's just not my kind of series, but man, it has a huge fan base. So
it does.
Good for those Monster Hunter fans out there. I'm glad they're getting a big old expansion for that game. And then just jumping around here, I thought this was like a pretty funny one. Chocobo GP.
What the hell is that, man?
So I've never played it, but I did hear there's another like Final Fantasy racing game for like the I think it's for the PS1 if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, a long time ago. But yeah, I've heard of it as well. But I've also like I've never played Final Fantasy game. Then I saw this and I was like, what? Why is this a thing?
It's
like
it's been a Mario Kart in a while, and
yeah,
Final Fantasy.
This feels like there was definitely a kart craze. I want to say in the late 90s, 100%. Where it was like everybody got a kart game, a kart racer, and it's like, what we haven't done in a while, like the Final Fantasy teams. Like, you know what? Let's go back to that.
Oh yeah. It's kind of strange, but what I find kind of more interesting than all of that is I feel like if I was Nintendo and Square Enix I heard was making like a kart racer, I would just like drop the hammer on them immediately. I'd be like, look, we own the kart racers here.
Yeah, they don't even have to. They don't even have to. It's just like, look at Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Or just Mario Kart 8.
That's
I mean,
true.
It
just keeps selling. It's crazy.
Yeah, like it hasn't stopped, and it's still like probably the best kart racer ever made.
But yeah, it's it's just kind of funny when I think about that and them putting something like that in this direct, and it's just like, you have like, Nintendo, you own the kart racing world, and then you're just gonna highlight this other like kart racing game that very much looks like Mario Kart. Like,
oh yeah, for sure.
very, very much looks like Mario Kart with just different characters.
That's all right. It's not gonna do well. Nah.
I don't know, man. It might do all right if they put the price right. Like, if you made that like a $40 game,
oh
do really well.
Maybe for sure. But then you can also just say, well, Mario Kart 8 is right there.
It's true.
And for like $20 more, I get a lot more.
But then again, I mean, Mario Kart 8 has been around for what, since 2014?
Yeah,
2014.
2014, and it's still doing really well.
Still doing really well. So I'm sure there's people out there clamoring for a new kart racer, especially like if you have, some siblings or some friends you like playing kart racer games with. This might be a good one to pick up. I'd be interested to at least try it out because I love a good kart racer.
For sure.
So yeah. Let's see what else we got here. Have you ever played the ActRaiser game for the SNES?
No, but it's one that I've always wanted to. And when I saw this, I was like, oh my god, this looks like a perfect opportunity for me to play. Like, I'm not sure if the original one is on the SNES Online. I have to double check.
Ooh, I don't think it is.
Yeah, I'm not too sure, but yeah, this looks fantastic because the original ActRaiser like gameplay, I always was like really intrigued by it because it's a weird combination of like side-scrolly action, kind of platformy, but then it like totally flips. It becomes like some sort of like city builder where it's like you gotta,
it's very weird.
It's such a weird combination, but it apparently worked out really well because it's a very successful game on SNES. And it's one that I've always wanted to play. And like when I saw this, I was like, oh man, I think it's only like $30. I was like, I think after Castlevania, that's the next one. And like Kena is just going to get pushed off to the side by me for a little while.
But it's baby Bloodborne.
I know. But then I have real Bloodborne.
That's true. There's more hats in Kena, I promise. But there's so that was definitely an interesting one. I definitely didn't see that coming, but ActRaiser definitely has some big fans out there, and so I know there's a lot of people out there really excited for that, and I would definitely be interested to try that out as well. I will say the kind of graphic upgrades with like these weird CG characters looks a little funny.
Yeah.
But I'd be down to try it out. If the price is right for it.
Same. I think it's only $30. So
yeah,
I think.
So I might pick that up.
Yeah, I agree though. Like when it comes to like sometimes they do unnecessary upgrades, and I think jumping into a 3D-ish kind of space, it's just not necessary. When pixel art is always beautiful, and you just improve on that and make it look even better. It's just like it'll stand the test of time forever.
Yeah, 100%. I think something like the Castlevania Collection is a perfect example where it's like you take something that's, it's like pretty low res, like 240p sprites, and you just blow them up for, into what I'm assuming is probably like a 1080 sprites, and apparently looks good.
Yeah,
according to Hav.
At least on the Switch screen, it looks great. I haven't tried it on the big TV yet.
Let's see here. What else we got here?
Quite a bit.
Have you ever played any of the Bayonetta games?
Originally, yeah. I mean, this was like their big one, right? Like this is the one people have been clamoring for years.
Yeah.
I played the
Bayonetta
first
3.
one. Hack and slashy, crazy combo building kind of game. Very fun. Witty writing, right? She's a very funny character. And like oddly over sexual. But she's like also like 10 feet tall, which I find hilarious. But yeah, no, I mean it's like this took forever. I mean, one thing I loved about it was like at the beginning of the trailer, there's a little Sheba that was barking. And I thought that was great. And then
you're just like 10 out of 10.
I was
10
like,
out of 10.
I was like, finally, it happened. Hasn't happened since Super Mario Odyssey, but finally, it's the Sheba's return. But yeah, no, I mean, it looks
we
like
need more Shebas in our games.
We do. No, this looks cool though. I mean, like, if that's your kind of game, hack and slash, building up those combos, like, it looks fantastic. Bayonetta series has always been it's proven itself as a great hack and slash style game. And people, there's a very loyal Bayonetta fan base that have been waiting for this for years. So I can't wait. When it comes out eventually, I just hope that, I hope it plays well. That's my biggest concern. This is a very fast action game, and especially recently, because not only have I been playing Castlevania, but I've also kind of returned to Link's Awakening to finish it. And I still get upset about the fact that game is not truly optimized. Or there's still laggy.
Such a big bummer.
Yeah, so when I look at a game like this, I'm like, wow, this is this is a big, fast-paced, action-heavy game. Lots of stuff happening on screen at one time. So I just hope that it's being built for the Switch to handle it. Yeah,
you need that locked 60 frames for something like this, and especially you gotta consider the handheld version as well.
Yep,
where it's just
exactly.
if you're playing Switch handheld, it's got to be 720p, locked 60 frames, which doesn't even feel like the right way to play a game like this, because that game always it feels so grand in nature. It's
sure,
you're basically fighting monsters the size of buildings.
Yeah,
it's just you kind of need that on a TV, but you have to you basically have to build with the lowest common denominator, the handheld version, and then stick it on a screen and still have it look pretty. So
yeah,
I hope they can find the right balance with that.
Same, yeah, because I love a good I like a good action game, but. And so I really hope they pull it off. I really hope the Switch can handle it.
For sure. And it's so funny if this is why I love Nintendo, because they never do what I think they're gonna do. It's always they're always doing something weird. If you 10 years ago, you're like, yo, Nintendo's gonna they're gonna pay for the Bayonetta franchise. They're gonna keep that going. I'd be like, dude, no way. It's you have this basically naked witch lady using her hair to punch monsters to death.
Yeah, it's
absolutely no way.
I would have also said that in 10 years ago, if someone told me, the Nintendo eShop, they're gonna have kind of perverted games, weird anime perverted games on their store, I'm like, no, they're not. Come on. And you look through the eShop has everything.
Yeah, it's not good. But when Nintendo officially puts their name on something, it's a pretty big deal. They don't take that stuff lightly. So the fact that they are publishing, Bayonetta 3 and then Bayonetta's in Smash and all this stuff, it's just so odd to me. It's this is absolutely an M-rated game, through and through.
Yeah, it's weird for sure. It's just weird seeing that in the same direct where you see Kirby,
Yeah, 100%. Speaking of Kirby, let's jump to Kirby. This is something I absolutely was not expecting, and the moment I saw it, I kind of thought of you, because I know you're a big fan of Kirby and the Crystal Shards for the N64. And big Kirby,
big old Kirby right here.
Go to youtube.com/multiplayer to see a big Kirby on screen.
I gotta take a picture of him and post it.
Yeah, but it's one of those things where it's other than Crystal Shards, there's really not. You could start to say, well, there's Kirby levels and things like Smash Brothers Brawl and all sorts of stuff, but a dedicated Kirby 3D game, there's Crystal Shards, right?
Well,
Am I missing one?
Crystal Shards not even 3D, truly. It's a side-scrolling game.
Well,
it's a 3D made.
2.5D, I guess is the best way to explain that.
But still a side-scroller. And that's what Kirby is. And I would say probably the only true 3D is Kirby Air Ride, the GameCube, where you're just flying around on stars and whatnot. But, Nintendo I would say they have a good track record of taking their, when characters are introduced to a 3D game, they do pretty well. Yeah. And Mario 64, Ocarina of Time, Metroid Prime, it's all great. They're all great. And, this is what I find really weird about this is that this game is post-apocalyptic. It's So I was like, what happened?
Super weird. Kirby ate the world.
Yeah, it's like it's super weird. It's just like this weird, lonely world where like plants have overgrown buildings, and it's just like, what has happened on this?
Yeah.
Didn't he on like Planet Popstar or something? I forget the name of his planet, but anyway, regardless of all that.
Yeah, it's kind of strange. So it's called Kirby and the Forgotten Land. So he's on some sort of weird forgotten world. Who knows where, like, I know there's a whole Kirby lore with, like, where he's from. And
tons.
being, like, a star child and all this nonsense. So he must have, like, crash landed on some planet that's, like, I mean, it looks like Earth.
Yeah.
Just from, like, there's, like, cars and street lamps and all sorts of stuff. So it straight up looks like Kirby meets The Last of Us.
Yeah, very much so. That's exactly what it looks like.
It's very like green and lush, and then there's like little Waddle Dees running around trying to like punch you or whatever.
Yeah, it's weird, right? Because like, Kirby's always been about getting powers, but then it's also, I feel like it's always been just like baby games. They're just so easy. Just all of them are just so easy, and it's just like, man, make it challenging. Like, it doesn't have to be like, I'm not looking for, I'd hate to keep saying Bloodborne, but like, I'm not looking for that. I'm just looking for something to be like, wow, this is actually kind of tough. And I can actually, see it as a challenge when I'm playing it. But Kirby games have always just been like baby games. And not to say that they're not fun. There have been some great ones on the 3DS, where they do different like mechanics and like, they're still cool, but it's still a game where it's like, yeah, like that was interesting. But even that was just like, man, this is cool. And I beat it in like 2 days. And it's like super easy. It's like, it's just not hard. So I'm hoping that, with a weird introduction of like a 3D world, that they just make it kind of challenging,
Yeah, looking at the trailer, it looks like it's still a baby game with like how the enemies are kind of coming at you.
Yeah, they're just like floating there. And you're just like, well, okay.
It's like they slowly start to like run towards you, but it's just like, yeah, you're not gonna do anything.
You could literally just fly.
Yeah, I really wish, and I'm gonna try not to go off into a huge, tangent about this, but like I really wish Nintendo would get into the habit of having sliding scale difficulties. Like, just give me like 4 different difficulties. Give me baby mode. Give me normal. Give me hard, give me hardcore, and it's like that. Give me that for all your games. Your Mario's, your Kirby's, your Yoshi's, whatever.
My only experience with that, I hated it, was Breath of the Wild when they did like the master version or something. Did you ever try that?
No, it's honestly it's still on my list.
It is stupidly difficult, like to the point where I'm like, this isn't fun. Like you just like I literally can't finish this guy because my stuff breaks and he's healing at the same time. It's like, I don't know. I'm just going to run away, but I don't want to do that because it's like, then it's not, it's just like, ugh, that is one example where like they did it and I personally didn't like it because it's just like, it's too much.
Yeah. That game was already hard. Like,
exactly. It's already hard. But like, when you introduce like an enemy, it's like, now they heal if you don't hit them in like 5 seconds. It's like, well, all my stuff is already breaking fast, and like now they're healing. Like, whatever. Anyway, this Kirby game though, I'm excited for it. I do want to play it. I'm very interested in like the 3D world aspect of it. Being able to traverse a Kirby game in 3D, I think is very interesting.
Yeah, for sure. So we'll see. We'll see how it turns out.
It's coming soon, like spring. Well, I mean soon, spring of next year. So.
Yeah, what's funny about this whole direct is a lot of talk about next year and not much about this year.
No holiday game.
Yeah, there's really no holiday game.
And I know that Nintendo likes to do this thing where it's like, guess what? This is coming out like in 2 weeks, or like it's out now, but like, it's gonna be October in a couple days. So it's like, I don't know what you're waiting for.
I just don't think they have one.
It doesn't seem. It seems like their big holiday thing is going to be their online thing, program upgrading, like the expansion.
Yeah, it's basically that. I think and we'll get into this in a second. I think the Animal Crossing expansion might be coming this year. They haven't announced a specific date, I don't think.
No, I think they just said November.
Yeah, so there's little things, but they don't have a big thing.
Because they also did the same thing with Smash, where it was like, and there's going to be one more Smash character.
Yeah.
In October, or they're like, Sakurai's going to have another event. Yeah, but we don't know when yet.
So that's what I wanted to kind of talk about next, was just like, with Animal Crossing New Horizons and Smash Brothers Ultimate, they basically were like, hey, we have some announcements, but not today.
And the Switch Online stuff as well. Same thing.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, we're going to have all this. I bet you're curious about the price. Well, you're not going to find out today.
Yeah, so, I don't have much to say about Animal Crossing and Smash Bros. As of right now, because they didn't really say very much.
No.
However, I have a thought for the last character. If you have a thought for the last character, I'll let you go first, because I think mine's better.
I haven't thought about it, to be honest. I don't know. I mean, there's still tons of people they can add, but I'm still holding out for Dixie Kong, but I can't imagine that's going to be the last character they add.
Because this is supposed to be their final character.
Yeah, no more after
Smash
this.
Brothers Ultimate. No more. At least that's as what they're saying right now. So I've been thinking, I'm like, who would they save for the absolute last? It's got to be absolutely stellar. Like, that
no,
has
it doesn't.
It has
no,
to
it
be.
doesn't.
Or it's going to be
Nintendo follows their. They don't. They're like.
It's true. It's just going to be Waluigi.
they don't think like that. They don't think like that at all. So,
I have a prediction.
Yeah.
And I hope it comes true. So it's either one or two characters. Okay. It's either going to be Sakurai or it's going to be Miyamoto.
As like a me character?
They're just them. It's like a cartoon version of them. I hope it's Miyamoto, because like if you had to think of the most iconic, character in video games, it's Miyamoto. It's just like him. It's him as the creator, Sure. And this whole thing with Smash Brothers, this is like, oh, these are your toys. These are toys fighting. You have this like hand,
the master hand.
The master hand and all this.
What if it's the master hand?
I mean, that would also be kind of cool, but yeah, like imagine Miyamoto as like a fighter. Like,
you just do anything.
He's just throwing out like 8-bit Marios and Donkey Kongs and stuff, and like, I mean, they've had weirder characters still. Like Duck Hunt Dog is a bunch of nonsense.
Oh yeah, and so was the dude from Minecraft, Steve, I think. So
Steve. So, I mean, make Miyamoto a character. I would take Sakurai as a backup. But like, I mean, that would be the finishing touch on such like a great series. Is just
sure.
Like, here you go. Mr. Miyamoto, Miyamoto-san is your final character.
that would be pretty sick. I'm not gonna lie. Like having them, even if it's one of them, just having one of them there in their weird animated version. I can't imagine they wouldn't do a non-me character like that. They'd have to look like a me.
Yeah, like, maybe. I mean, that's probably the way that they would go about it.
Yeah,
but like make them special me's with like their own weird abilities.
This is the Miyamoto.
Oh snap! But yeah, you could even go the route of like Sakurai and Miyamoto kind of. It's basically a skin that you could swap out.
Sure. And
there's certain moves that would change according to that. So something like that would be fantastic. Like give me that.
I'm trying to I'm trying to think of like reading the tea leaves of what it could be. And it's like, well, what have they been doing recently? It's like they announced a lot of stuff for next year. There's still that Zelda like anniversary thing that's going to be coming out. So maybe it's like a weird Zelda character, like that bad guy from Skyward Sword. I forget his name. But I don't know. I honestly have no idea who could be like. But I don't think it's going to be Miyamoto or Sakurai. It would be cool. It would be cool. But I would imagine they just do. They could totally do something underwhelming. It doesn't matter, because they're gonna be like everyone already pre-ordered it, so there's no pressure. It's like,
Except for fan hype, you gotta have that fan hype. You know, it's like if
They
I was,
don't
if I was
think like
Sakura,
that, though.
I know they really don't. I'm telling you, that every time they throw me off their trail. They could just be like, and the next character is Chris Pratt. It's just like, what? No, I didn't want that at all.
It's like, too bad. Here he is, handling dinosaurs and being a guardian of the galaxy.
No. Yeah, it'll probably end up being something underwhelming, but I hope
Here's another Fire Emblem person. It's like,
I will literally fly to Japan and punch Sakurai in his face if he puts another goddamn Fire Emblem character in this game. Those are all great characters, but still, it's like, give me something different, please.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, let's move on to Splatoon 3. Have you ever been a Splatoon fan?
No, well, not that I'm not a fan. It's just not my.
You hate Splatoon.
I've never really gotten into it. The thing that intrigues me the most about Splatoon is the lore.
Yeah.
The world is very interesting to me. It's like, it's the same thing when I looked at this Kirby game. So what happened? Now the world, like, it's just squid people, like squid kids, and no humans.
Yeah, so the lore itself is pretty interesting, and I feel like they haven't gotten too in depth, other than like these aliens invading and you as like one of these squid kids trying to stop the aliens. But Splatoon 3 seems to really be taking this lore to the next level with like, hey, like, definitely humans have been wiped off for some weird reason, and then these like mammalians, these like mammal aliens are coming to Earth to, mess with the squid kids, I guess. And it's just like, I mean, it's such a weird world. It's one of those things where it's like, when you think about it, it's basically a post-apocalyptic Earth where now these weird, sea creatures are now, kind of the main,
top of the food chain,
whatever you want to. They're running. They're running things.
Yeah, shooting squid, ink at each other.
Yeah, and it's what happened to all the humans?
What's really weird? I just realized this because I want to do a quick search. It's like Splatoon, the first one came out in 2015.
Yeah,
and they're already on 3. Yeah, it's like, man, they're really pumping out these Splatoon games.
Yeah, which is great. I like to see that just because it shows that Nintendo has interest in keeping this franchise around for a while.
Yeah, for sure.
It's something that like they've been putting Squid Kids in things like Mario Kart 8 and Smash Brothers, and that just goes to show you like that that series is doing really well for Nintendo, and it's really the first big IP in a long time.
Yep.
That Nintendo has kind of brought into its library of annual releases. It's like, you basically have like Mario, Samus, Link, Squid Kids, and that's and Kirby sometimes. And it's like that's it. It's like
F-Zero fans are crying.
Yeah, exactly. It's like F-Zero and Pikmin and all these like
even ARMS. They tried to make ARMS really big, and then that kind of fell flat. And
which is unfortunate. That was actually a really fun game.
Very interesting.
Very interesting. I want to see the post-apocalyptic ARMS world. But yeah, more than anything, I'm pretty excited about the story. But even the multiplayer, they look like they're doing some pretty sweet stuff with like mechs and stuff. I've always been a big fan of the Splatoon games. The only thing I'm not a fan of still to this day is the Nintendo Online experience is just garbage.
You can do Bluetooth now.
I don't care about Bluetooth. I want to get on the internet and like talk to my friends easily. And
you're not allowed to have friends. Not on Nintendo.
Not. Not without having like a freaking 40 character code or whatever. It's so stupid. Like I just want to get on my Switch and be like, oh, Hav's on the Switch. Yo, Hav, you want to play some Splatoon 3? And you're like, oh yeah, dog. And then you just start a voice chat.
Well, you can. You just got to call me on a regular phone.
I don't want to do that. Give it to me all in one place. I swear. I'm friggin' Nintendo, man. Just These people are a bunch of characters, bunch of jokers. Okay, two more things. We're almost out of time, so I'm gonna save the Mario movie for last because that's ridiculous. But let's start with the Nintendo Switch Online Plus expansion pass.
That's their big holiday release this year.
Pretty much, which I gotta say, once again, I can never predict what Nintendo's gonna do. I could have told you, oh yeah, they're gonna add N64 stuff and they're gonna charge more. 100%, that's gonna happen. I've been, thinking that for a while, but Sega Genesis, it almost broke my brain.
It's so weird, If you went again, it's like go back in time, right? Go back in time to the 90s. When Sega was like, we do what Nintendo. It's like, Sonic attitude. And now it's like, please, Nintendo, take our things and just make them popular again. Like, let people play our games. It's so weird to think you're gonna have access to a Sega Genesis controller made by Nintendo, an official licensed Nintendo product. Sega Genesis controller. It's such a weird... You have to buy it off
the Nintendo website.
It's just a weird world.
It's a very weird world. It's funny. So just to clarify, for the people that missed out, basically Nintendo Switch Online, they're getting Nintendo 64 games and Sega Genesis games now, like a select library of both, and both systems are also getting a wireless controller, so you can get a N64 controller, a wireless version, as well as a Sega Genesis controller, wireless. Both are off the Nintendo Switch website. You have to have an online subscription to get them, and it's just like, it's so weird to buy a Sega Genesis controller off a Nintendo website. It's just so weird. It kind of broke my brain a little bit, but I kind of find it funny where it's like, it feels like Nintendo finds Sega such a non-threat that they're like, we'll say.
I mean, they're not. They're not.
They're not.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. It's just, what changes in like 20 years time can be funny.
Yeah, it's nuts. But I'm really excited about the 64 stuff. Has me like super excited because, and the main reason being is that like, we're gonna have these select titles at first. And then we're eventually going to have this stuff. And everyone's like, Banjo-Kazooie, which means they got access to Rare, which hopefully means that, they do a lot of the old Rare collection, on the online service now. So, if we get Conker's Bad Fur Day on 64 online, that'd be so cool, man. Or like Jet Force Gemini, it'd be just a lot of that, just that Rare library from the 64 would be amazing to have access to.
Yeah, it'd be terrific. Yeah, I've actually, because Banjo-Kazooie and Tooie are both on Game Pass, but once again, I feel like it would just break my brain to play Banjo-Kazooie with an Xbox controller. So I'm pretty excited to play it on the Switch again. I've been wanting to go back and revisit that game, that and Tooie, if Tooie eventually comes. I hope what this means is eventually, I think you were actually saying this last week, Hav, Nintendo and Xbox just gets together and they figure out making a Banjo 3, Banjo-Kazooie 3.
Man,
I really hope they do it.
That'd be incredible, dude. I don't know if it'll ever happen because of the legal ramifications and stuff, but man,
they have a great relationship.
They do. Just give me some cross-company cooperation and just make this thing happen for everybody because everybody would love it.
He's in Smash too, it's just...
Yep.
So, I don't know, man. We'll see. But, hopefully that won't add too much to the cost. Like, if it's like $30 a month, I could get into it. But,
I mean,
I'm going to start to get mad at 40.
I agree. Like, especially right now, because like $20, that's easy. You can do that all day. But, like, man, don't get it up super high.
Frappuccinos at Starbucks or whatever.
Yeah, it's like, that's a totally valid purchase to make. So, hopefully it doesn't go up too much. I hope not, but at the same time, Nintendo, when it comes to their stuff, like besides the online service, they are pricey. They because they know people will pay for it.
Yeah,
and that's the thing that bothers me.
Chumps.
Yeah, we are.
Let's move on to the last topic before we are completely out of time here. So the Mario movie is coming out holiday 2022, and Mr. Miyamoto himself came out and he was just like, "Hey guys, I've been hanging out with like some Hollywood peeps, and I want to announce this movie, and I've been to a couple Hollywood parties as of late, and I hired some people on the spot because I think it's kind of cool to talk to Chris Pratt."
It really does seem where it really does. He really did give off the vibe of like, yeah, I've been in LA hanging out with production people and like making movies, and here's the cast, and we all hang out. You know what? Yeah. It'd be super cool and fun. It's like, man, what a life you must live.
Yeah, and dude, it threw an absolute curveball to me because I would have paid money, bet money to say that like this is absolutely going to be a game or a movie where Mario is barely talking. He's just going wahoo wee.
Yeah,
and like maybe we get some more, voice acting from like Peach and Luigi or whatever, but it's going to be like some weird movie where it's like those characters aren't talking too much. But now I don't know what this movie's going to be because
they're going to be talking.
Nintendo announced that all these characters could be talking like a lot. You have like Chris Pratt playing Mario. You have you have Charlie Day playing Luigi. You have Jack Black playing Bowser. You got Seth Rogen playing Donkey Kong. You got Keegan-Michael Key playing Toad.
That's a weird one. That's a really weird one, playing Toad.
No, that's the only one that makes sense because he's like really good at like making really weird
He
sounds.
Is, but it's just weird. It's Toad. Like, yeah, it's just going to be weird.
He's just going to be like, ah!
Exactly. Like, that's the Toad voice. Like,
yeah, and he's great at doing nonsense like that. So I think that's the only good one. And it's just like, what is Chris Pratt doing playing?
Apparently, he said like he's gonna do like I don't want to say like an accent, but he's not gonna sound like himself. Like he's gonna be doing something to make him sound more Mario-ish. I guess I don't know.
It's me, Chris. I mean, Mario.
I hope he goes for like in Inglourious Bastards. Doing that kind of like Brad Pitt Italian, buongiorno.
Buongiorno.
I'm Mario.
Gorlami.
I gotta save the princess over here.
I always thought this was just like a full CG movie with like these characters barely talking. But the more I think about it, I'm like, are they pulling like a new Jumanji on this, where it's just like.
People
Chris
get
Pratt,
like sucked into a video game or something.
Sucked into a video game, and now they are the characters because, like,
could be.
It's all bets are off now. I don't know what's happening.
Maybe it's gonna be like the Super Mario TV show from the '90s, where it's like they live in New York, and then
hey yo, it's a me, Mario,
and then they magically go to the Mushroom Kingdom somehow. It's never really explained, but they go back and forth.
Go down a toilet or something. Bunch of nonsense in that cartoon.
It's weird. I mean, it's like they have to do this, right? Because like they got to sell tickets, so they got to have like big time celebrities. Especially when it comes to voice acting, like Jack Black's done voice acting, right? Like they're all familiar with it, but they needed people to really like put seats in theaters, right? And like Chris Pratt does that.
It's like a Mario movie. It's like Mario's Mario. It's like. I think it just sells itself, but I don't know. We'll see.
I see. You would think that, but then there's a Super Mario movie in the '90s.
Well, that's different.
Is it?
That was a train wreck.
I know, but Super Mario. It's called Super Mario Bros.
But if that was just a Mario movie, like a CG Mario movie with Mario just doing his wahoos,
sure.
I think you would still have butts and seats because like people want to see a Mario movie, but. I don't know. We'll see, man. But
it's gonna be weird. It's just, but it's another one of those things where it's like, hey guys, here's the deal. We don't have anything to show for it, but here's what's happening. It's like that seemed to have been a theme here at the Direct.
Yeah, for sure. Do you have anybody in mind that you would want to play Wario?
I mean, if Chris Pratt is gonna be Mario. I mean, I don't know. Who's John Cena? There you go. He'll be
John Cena.
He'll be Wario. Why not? You can do it.
I think that just broke me a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, at a certain point when you read the cast for this movie, it seems like fan casting. So I was like, why not? John Cena can play Wario. And then Waluigi can be, I don't know, who's a man kind of person in celebrities.
Just go with another wrestler.
The Rock.
Yeah, The Rock will.
That would be weird.
Yeah. If you smell what Waluigi is cooking.
It's a bunch of nonsense.
That'd be ridiculous. All right, I'm on board.
Right? Yeah, see? Could totally do it.
Oh, man. All right, that's our show. Thank you, everybody, for joining us this week as we talk about John Cena playing Wario and other nonsense. Remember, these episodes go live every Wednesday, except for this one. Sorry, everybody. This will go live on a Thursday, but most of the time, these go live on Wednesdays. Remember, you can check us out at Go Multiplayer on Instagram. Hav, where can we find you?
On Instagram as well, at Loverboy_Hav.
Nice. And I'm at Zach Matzganis, ZACKMATZGANIS. And of course, you can check us out over at patreon.com/multiplayer, where if you like what we do, check that out. Throw us like $1 or $2 a month. It helps to, basically keep the lights on, support the show. Let us do what we love to do, which is talk about The Rock playing Waluigi. And
John Cena playing Wario.
You can't see me, garlic. But yeah, that is a show. Make sure you like, subscribe, tell your cat, grandma, your friends about the show. That definitely helps as well. But yeah, that's it. We did it.
Good times.
Thank you so much, everybody, for watching this episode of Multiplayer. And of course, remember
that we love you, and you should love you too.
We love you, Rock. Play Waluigi.
Be amazing.
See you next week. Peace. We here at Multiplayer would like to give a huge special thank you to Kevin Hopkins, William Euchre, and the rest of our amazing Patreon community. If you'd like to support our podcast and get a shout out at the end of each show, be sure to check out our Patreon at patreon.com/multiplayer. See you next time, players. We love ya!